What up? I'm Bea and welcome to my channel where we talk about all things YouTube drama and current events. Thank you so much for joining me for part 2 of the Beginner's Guide to Without a Crystal Ball. Part 1 was posted last week and it got a lot of great feedback. I want to say a big thank you to Reddit user Lickies and Chewies for posting the video on the Without a Crystal Ball subreddit. I know that had a massive impact on the amount of traffic that my video got, so thank you. Now, before we get into part 2, I do want to address something. Like I said, I got so much incredible and positive feedback both on YouTube and on Reddit, so thank you if you left a kind comment. But I did also get some pushback for something that I included in part 1, and so I wanted to come on here and kind of give an amendment to that statement. I will be updating the description box in part 1 to make it known, but I did want to come on here and actually say it to you. Now, if you haven't seen part 1 of this series, you're going to want to go back and watch it because you'll have no idea what I'm talking about. But essentially in part 1, I said something along the lines of the fact that Katie had been granted a temporary restraining order against Steve McRae, and it had been granted on grounds of online harassment and threatening behavior. Now, this temporary restraining order was granted in an ex parte hearing, which means Steve didn't get a chance to present his evidence. Once he had that opportunity, he did, and the restraining order was dropped. It was my understanding, which I have come to learn is incorrect, that when you request a temporary restraining order, you have to give some sort of proof of the harassment in order for it to be granted. That was what I thought. And so when I heard about that situation, that it was granted and then dropped, but that there was a chance it could be granted again, in my head I thought, okay, well, you know, clearly he was able to prove that he wasn't harassing her to an extent where they would need a temporary restraining order, but if she had to provide some kind of evidence, you know, the claims of harassment must be somewhat true. And that's why I was really hesitant, some might even say stubborn, to make an amendment in the first place when people were coming to me saying, you should take this part out, it's misleading, Steve wasn't harassing Katie, she's lied before, she's been involved in a lot of false allegations in the past, like, this is not a legitimate request for a restraining order or for a temporary restraining order. I'm somebody who will give the benefit of the doubt to a fault, so I was like, hey, I know she's lied in the past, I know she's been proven to have a history of lying, but I don't know what proof she gave the judge in order to get that temporary restraining order. Turns out you don't really have to provide proof. All you really have to do is make it seem like if a temporary restraining order isn't granted, you are in imminent danger. So when asking for a temporary restraining order, judges will often grant it out of caution because then they can come back and say, here's my proof, and get it dropped. But in the meantime, while the temporary restraining order is in effect, it doesn't necessarily have a massive impact on the other person's civil liberties. So like I said, they'll, you know, rather be safe than sorry. Grant it. Once we get more evidence, then we'll go from there. So since my understanding of what it took to actually get a temporary restraining order granted turned out to be wrong, I just wanted to come on here, let you guys know, and actually give you the correct information. Additionally, I have spoken to Steve McRae privately since part 1 of my video came out, and he provided me with the social media handles of several people who have been following Katie Joy, her story, and most obviously her controversies. He did give me permission to share those recommendations with all of you, so I will be putting them in the description box. Feel free to utilize those resources to learn a little bit more about Katie Joy and all of her controversies. And that brings me into my next point, which is the fact that you will notice throughout part 1 and part 2, I'm only focusing on 4 different altercations. This is not all that is out there. Katie has been involved in drama and in controversy with so many other people, other creators, other reality stars, other subscribers and former subscribers. Literally, the list goes on and on and on of people that Katie has had a problem with or that Katie has wronged. And honestly, if I attempted to go over even half of the negative interactions that she has had with people on social media, this would literally be a Without a Crystal Ball dedicated channel because there's that much material. So that is why I only picked 4. The first one I picked because it's one of her most commonly referenced dramas, but I had no idea what it was about. I hear people talk about it all the time. They'll make, kind of callbacks to this situation, and I had no clue what was going on. So I wanted to look into that, and when I did, it was real bad on Katie's end. And then the drama with Angelica and Katie I picked because it shows that the things we're going to be talking about in part 2 aren't just one-off occurrences. Katie has a specific pattern of behavior, and it didn't just start a few months ago. Angelica said that this happened over a year ago. Katie confirmed it. The behavior that she exhibits in these next 2 stories isn't anything new. We can see it going back several years, and we see it consistently. Now that we've gone over all that, let's get into part 2. Now, moving on to the aforementioned Sanders-Kennedy incident, which is also the lawsuit incident. If you don't remember, a few months back, in July, Sanders-Kennedy posted a video talking about how Shane Dawson was under an active investigation from the LAPD. This ended up not necessarily being the most accurate information, but he put it out there anyway. He claimed that he was in contact with the sheriff's department and that if you wanted more frequent updates about the situation, you should become a member of his channel to get all of the exclusive tea. Now, I'm not laughing because I think it's funny that somebody could have potentially been under investigation or that people could have been hurt. I am, however, laughing because Sanders took this whole thing that's a very serious topic and turned it into a way to get more people to join his membership. In any case, he said, "Join my membership, you'll get all the exclusive info, and also, if you or anyone else that you know had an inappropriate interaction with Shane Dawson while you were underage, contact me first, and then I will contact the LAPD for you." Now, this is obviously an inappropriate and irresponsible video to make, and for those exact reasons, no other drama or commentary channels picked up on that story. No one else reported on it. No one else thought this was a good idea from what I saw. Everyone was like, this is too far, Sanders. Everyone except Katie Joy. Katie, on that very same day, decided to go on her channel and give a recap of Sanders' video without doing any additional research. Essentially, she just kind of, in my opinion, wanted to be part of breaking the story and being one of the first people to get views about it. And so without kind of maybe waiting and saying, hey, this is a pretty serious topic, let's get some additional info, let's see what comes of this, she jumped on the opportunity and she eventually ended up having to take that video down because it came out that most of the information in there was not fully accurate. But before she took it down and before everyone kind of discovered just how inaccurate it was, Sanders was getting a lot of backlash for posting it, and he stayed off social media. He wasn't responding to comments, DMs. He was nowhere to be found. And so people who wanted more information went to Katie, as you would, the only other person who was talking about this specific aspect of the story. And according to Katie, so many people were coming to her, asking her questions. She wanted to be helpful. She ended up posting on Twitter that anybody who had information they wanted to share about the Shane Dawson investigation should call the LA County Sheriff's Office. She provided a phone number and she said that they should request to speak with a Sergeant Payne. At the same time, there was another content creator by the name of Augie RFC who was doing a live stream, and the people in the live stream were asking him about this video because it was essentially the topic of the day. And so while on stream, Augie tried to call the sheriff's office and found out that Sergeant Payne, according to what we know, is retired. He no longer works there. He did for a point in time, but he doesn't work there anymore. He's not responsible for the specific Shane Dawson investigation, and there isn't really truly an active investigation going on. And so at this point, he wanted to get more info from the people reporting on it. Sanders wasn't on social media, and so, of course, as everybody else did, as you logically would, he went to Katie. I do have a little bit of a problem with the way that he approached it, but nevertheless, it is technically not against terms of service. It's not wrong. It's not something that he could get in trouble for. He DM'd Katie live on his stream and showed the DMs as they were happening. And so he essentially DM'd Katie and said, hey, like, we need more info about this. Come on my live stream. Katie, not knowing who Augie RFC was, did not want to go on his live stream, understandably, but he kind of gave more info about what was happening, why he wanted to talk to her. Said, we called the sheriff's office. Sergeant Payne is retired. Like, you need to explain what's happening. You need to explain yourself. And Katie's variation of responses all revolved around the fact that Sanders reported the story, ask him. And like I said, I don't blame her for not wanting to go on his stream and not wanting to have this type of interaction, especially on a public platform. But at the end of the day, you know, he asked her to come on. She said no, not my responsibility, and then ended up blocking him. As a result of this interaction happening live on stream, people who were in Augie's stream ended up going over to Katie's because she just happened to be live streaming at the exact same time and started calling her a liar and leaving various other rude comments. Katie was pretty understandably upset about this, and I go back and forth because I don't think anyone deserves to be harassed, so like, don't do that. But at the same time, if you put something out on the internet, you are responsible for that. You are responsible for the things that you say publicly. I understand that she made it clear that this is just what Sanders had said in his video, but she took it and put it onto her own platform. That was a decision that she made, and I don't think it was ridiculous that people were coming to her wanting more info about it because she put it out there. Obviously, when you are a commentary channel, a lot of your stuff is opinion-based, and a lot of it is, well, he said this, but she said this, so the truth is probably somewhere in the middle. You can't always have every single fact regarding a certain situation. However, this was a very serious claim, and I think a more responsible decision would have been to wait and see what other information came out, or if you were even able to confirm that this was happening. You know, Katie says that she reaches out to so many different people and talks to so many different sources related to the people that she's talking about. So I don't know, like, would it have been very hard? I don't think it would have been appropriate, but would it have been very hard to call the LA County Sheriff's Office and ask? See what's up, see if they had any information they could have given you. In any case, though, after this interaction with Augie, Katie went on a live stream with a creator by the name of Unirock and said that she was going to report Augie RFC to YouTube as well as, quote, sue his ass, unquote. You can't report somebody for something just because you don't like it. Just because something paints you in a bad light doesn't give you grounds to sue somebody. But Katie, for a point in time there, was very much sue happy, is what I would call it.
Little Red, if you stream this onto your channel, you will get a copyright strike. Do not stream this onto your channel. I will strike your channel. You do not have permission, Little Red, to use any of this content. And if you do, I will be copyright striking you. You will also be hearing from my attorney that is not a threat. That is true. You will be part of a lawsuit. You have stolen my intellectual property repeatedly, and if you continue, we will be well, it's not even if you continue, we will be contacting you. So, I have just put out all of the information about Beast Boy BX. I have done my best to remain extremely quiet about this because, first of all, I don't like to play into drama. I know people always say you're so dramatic and there's always drama around you. That's literally because for the past 14 months, I have been under a targeted harassment attack that has now taken me to a place where I am seeking legal action against the group that is doing this. All of them. Not just one, the group. My attorney has already reached out tonight to at least one of the parties involved. You need to check your DMs. They want to serve you with papers.
As if that's how business is conducted. As if she has the right to say that. Somebody who literally makes their living talking, in most cases badly, about other people. This is what I'm gonna do. This is how I'm gonna make my money, but she doesn't like when the tables are turned. And look, I get it. Nobody likes hearing bad stuff about them. Nobody likes being the bad guy in a story. But you have to take accountability for your actions. You put something out on the internet. you're responsible for it. You're gonna get called out if it's wrong, if it's inappropriate, if it's harmful, if it's damaging, and sometimes you have to deal with that. And sometimes you have to deal with people making videos about you that you don't like. If people are criticizing your actions, they have a right to. As much as it sucks, they have a right to do that. Oh, and another part of this whole thing that is very ironic is that Katie, during the whole bi-sister drama, got a cease and desist from Tati Westbrook, and she was very upset about it. She did not like the fact that Tati was trying to tell her to stop talking about her. And the most interesting part of that is that I've never heard of another content creator or commentary channel or drama channel receiving a cease and desist from Tati, and there have been some pretty rough videos made about her. So if Tati felt the need to send one to Katie, whatever Katie said must have been pretty rough. But in any case, Katie was upset when that happened, when she got a cease and desist, because she said, I'm allowed to talk about you. And then she turns around and says that she's going to sue people for talking about her. It just doesn't make sense. Additionally, Katie has started only enabling members only chat whenever she does a live stream. And really the only motives I can think of for doing this are not wanting to see negative comments about yourself while you're on a stream, and potentially wanting to get more money. Obviously, if you only have members only chat available, you're only going to see comments from people who are willing to pay you money to watch you, and so those people obviously like you. They're going to be positive comments, which is really only what Katie wants to hear. But at the same time, I think money is a part of it, because here's the thing, I have a membership for my channel. I have access to only stream to the people who are members of my channel. If there was something I wanted to talk about and I only wanted to allow members of the channel to comment while it was live, I could do that. And then after that was over, nobody else would be able to watch it. Only the members could see it. They could comment. We could have our little interaction and whatever. And then after that live stream's done, I say to myself, you know what? I want everyone else on my channel to be able to see this. I think that this is important info to share with them. For whatever reason, I want everyone who subscribes to me or anyone who comes across my channel to be able to watch this. I can switch it to public. And then other people can watch it and they can leave their comments. However, if you are streaming publicly but only letting your members comment, if somebody else wants to leave a comment criticizing you, they have to watch you twice. They have to click on your video twice, and they're most likely going to see an ad when they first start the stream, and then after, when they go back to leave that comment, they're going to see an ad again. And also, if they have to watch for a while, if they click on it, they pause it right at the start, they leave their comment and they dip, that's not going to count as a view. But if they're trying to remember a specific part of the conversation, something specific you said, and they watch it for a while, and then they leave their comment and they leave halfway through, that's going to count as a view. And they might even see some mid-rolls on there. So I feel like it's not only a way to only see positive comments about herself, it's also a way to increase views on her channel and get more ad revenue. That's like my tin hat conspiracy theory, but also it's the only theory that makes sense to me. You'll have to let me know what you think down below. Now moving on to our last topic of discussion. After we found out that the information that both Sanders and Katie put out was less than truthful, a creator by the name of BX Beast Boy did a video talking about how putting this information out is essentially irresponsible. Now, he criticized both Sanders and Katie Joy for the parts that they each played in this entire situation, but something that he said about Katie that really resonated with me was that doing this, this whole thing made her lose credibility. In most cases, we watch commentary channels with the idea that they are somebody we can trust, that they're giving us information that is reliable. And obviously, I've said this before, I stand by this. You don't have to take a creator's word on everything just because you like them. Yes, what I look for in commentary channels is people who I feel are doing the research and looking into situations and giving me accurate information and then giving their opinion on it. I go into it with the idea that I don't necessarily have to worry about if they are giving me accurate information or not. I just trust them. However, if you hear something that you are questioning or that you're not quite sure if they have the full info on, I think it's a great idea to do your own research. But overall, we watch these people because we don't want to have to do that research. And so all that is to say, if Katie takes a video that no one else is talking about, nobody else is backing up, she has not done any additional research, she has not taken the time to really look into the legitimacy of the information in the video, and she puts it on her channel, why are we going to trust her? And so when BXB Boy said, you know, your actions within all of this, yes, Sanders responsible for putting false information on the internet as if it were true. He's at fault for that, but your part in this makes you lose credibility. Why would we want to watch you if we can't at least trust most of the information that you're giving us? And overall, the video was really good. He made valid points, and he wasn't unnecessarily cruel, which is something that I really value in a content creator. I appreciated the video that he made. And on that video, Katie ended up leaving a comment saying that this whole situation was represented incorrectly. She is the victim, she's being harassed, and there's false info out there about her that should be corrected, essentially. And so BXB Boy responded to her and said, well, hey, if you want to clear some things up, do you want to do an interview? Katie agreed, and so they set up an interview. Now, originally, from my understanding, they were going to be doing it on BX Beast Boy's Discord server, but Katie got in there and saw that there were people there waiting to watch it happen, and that made her uncomfortable. She's like, no, I don't want people in the server, like, I'm not doing this. She backed out, and so they ended up going into her server. They did the interview in private, and everything supposedly was fine. Now, after they completed the interview, because of the kind of confusion about people being in Discord, wanting to watch it, stuff like that, because that happened, BX Beast Boy DM'd her again, and I'm paraphrasing, but was just like, hey, just to clarify, is it okay if I use this audio for a video? And Katie, paraphrasing, said something along the lines of, oh, you recorded it. BXB Boy says, yes, I record every interaction like this for my own safety. Katie ended up saying, okay, that's fine. He said, I will send you the audio before I post it. And she said, no, it's fine. Just, you know, make sure that you're not leaving anything important out. I think it was very nice of him to reach out again and clarify, because when I hear that an interview is happening or I'm going to be interviewed, my assumption, especially when it's two YouTube creators getting together for an interview, is that it would be recorded. I don't necessarily think that that is something odd or that it necessarily should have had to have been clarified. But it is great that he reached out again and was like, hey, like, I feel like I was unclear at first, you know, can I release it? So they get that resolved, and BXB Boy ends up hosting the interview. Katie promotes it, and then pretty quickly after that, Katie realized that she was not getting the response from the interview that she had wanted. I think that she went into the interview with the mindset that she was going to clear her name and everyone was going to see her side and say, you're right, you're not responsible for putting this information on your channel. We should all blame Sanders, and we should also blame Augie RFC. He didn't tell anybody to go harass her, but because of that interaction with him, she ended up getting a lot of mean comments, a lot of negative comments, just overall a lot of negative attention. And so I think she kind of thought she was going to come out of this completely absolved, and she wasn't. So after seeing that the response to the interview was not totally what she had envisioned and people were still criticizing her, Katie decided to go on Twitter and essentially revoke her endorsement of the video. She tweeted, I was invited to an interview. We agreed to meet in Discord. I was not told at any time the interview was recorded, nor was he ever clear that there was going to be a recording. We were only supposed to speak. I was under the impression he would recap what I told him. After speaking for half an hour, he contacted me to ask to use the audio, to which I said, oh, you recorded me. Then I said, I mean, it's fine, which I said because at this point he already had the audio. I felt like I had to be okay with it or he could release it otherwise. I asked him not to twist things, but he did leave really big parts out. He left audio out where he admitted that he and the friends surrounding him were trolls. He told me that a group of channels swarm and attack creators for no reason to gain clout and subs. He cut that. The interview went live with every piece of him admitting to troll behavior and his friends' ruthless online behavior. What was left was me looking like I was going to threaten to sue them, which we never discussed. He cut out any discussion of a case I told him nothing about. After it went live, these same channels went after me and accused me of threatening to sue them, and then I got attacked from all angles. In my haste, I got upset that he doctored the audio and made a comment that he, quote, recorded me illegally, end quote. He subsequently blocked me. I've reached out to him on multiple platforms, but he won't speak to me and has now uploaded at least 4 defaming and disparaging videos about me. He has painted himself as the victim when we had a miscommunication, which I apologized for. His video accusing me of accusing him of a crime, which he admitted he was not clear about and never asked to record me, gained 40,000 plus views, and I have been attacked relentlessly by his subs since. I am asking him to cease and desist now, release the audio admitting he trolled, agree to move on, and remove the videos about me. I want him to do well, but attacking me for literally a misunderstanding and his refusal to speak tells me this is being used by him for views and AdSense, what he accuses me of doing too. The end. So she was clearly very unhappy with the response that the interview received and went back to try and make BX Beast Boy seem more sinister than he actually was. I mean, he didn't have to ask her, to be clear, is it okay if I release the audio? Because it's an interview. Like I said, what kind of interview between 2 YouTubers isn't going to be recorded? Why? You know, I just don't know. Anyway, BX Beast Boy did do a response to it, and he said that he didn't cut the audio in any sort of manipulative way. He cut out dead air and cleaned it up essentially, but he didn't try to make her look bad, and the way the interview sounded, it sounds very much how Katie speaks. So maybe there were certain parts that were left out, maybe parts of the conversation he didn't deem relevant, but from what I've seen of BX Beast Boy, I kind of feel like his intentions are not to tear anybody down. I think that I'm leaning towards believing him when he says, I didn't cut anything out important, I cut out dead air, I cleaned it up. That's it. And as far as making disparaging and defamatory videos about Katie Joy, he's literally just talking about what's going on. He's talking about how she agreed to the interview, which she did, and they had the interview, which they did, and she promoted the interview, which she did, and then she went back and said that he illegally recorded her, which she did say that. She admitted to saying it, which is a very bold claim to make. You know, I get being worked up about something, but don't lie. And you know, she admitted that in her haste, quote unquote, she said that he illegally recorded her and that was not what she meant. But if I'm being completely honest, I think she probably did mean that, and she said it because she wanted it to look worse than it was. She wanted to look like she had grounds to be upset with him. However, in those screenshots that she shared of the conversation, it's kind of the exact same thing that happened with Steve McRae. She put screenshots of their conversation in those tweets, and they back up what he said, that he thought she knew that they were going to be recorded for this, and he asked her, do you want me to send you the audio before I post it? And she said, no, it's fine, just don't twist it. If you were that concerned and you were that distrusting of another person to put things out legitimately, and he's giving you the chance to review it, why would you not? And the main point of all of these stories, the behavior that we can see in all of these different instances, these sketchy, backstabbing, flip-flopping, going back on your word, making retractions, posting and deleting videos, it's all indicative of what my biggest criticism is of Katie. And that is that I personally, from what I have seen, feel that she lacks integrity. She does not have respect for her subscribers or her members, if I'm being quite honest. She doesn't care enough about them to put out as accurate information as she can. She does not feel responsible for putting out truthful information. If she makes a mistake in a video, she'll delete it or go back and say, oh yeah, I posted this video 2 days ago, but this is wrong. Now here's the new info. And she actually restricts the things that her subscribers can say in her comment section. I understand censoring yourself and not saying certain things so you can remain monetized, but she will give reminders in her streams to her members and say, remember, like, let's not use that word, let's not say this word, let's not say abuse. Like, she will spell things out that they can't say and ask them to keep the chat clean so she can remain monetized. And in my experience on YouTube, obviously I've only been on YouTube for less than a year, I certainly do not know everything about the platform, but I have never seen any indication that people using swear words or words like abuse, she spells bully out. She won't let herself or her subscribers say bully. Like, I've never seen bully, abuse, assault in comment sections having an impact on whether or not your video remains monetized. So she doesn't let them have free expression on her channel, which, as long as your opinion is not vile or hateful, I think your subscribers should be able to say whatever they want. So I don't feel that she has a ton of respect for her audience, not even her members, and she has even less respect for her fellow creators. You know, other people on this platform are her contemporaries. If everyone who made YouTube videos, if everyone who made commentary videos worked in one building, we'd be clocking in together. You know, people who make the same type of content as you or people who you interact with, those are your peers, and I don't see why you wouldn't want to have as good of a relationship as you could. Obviously, you don't have to be friends with everybody, but the way that Katie treats other people who do the exact same thing as her shows that she is very hypocritical. Katie helped spread false information about the theft of a channel from a fellow creator. She didn't support Steve. She supported Kyle even though she knew that he was wrong and that he was spreading false information about their business dealings. She didn't give Angelica the common courtesy of trying to come to a resolution when Angelica used some of her work without crediting her. She threatened to sue another creator for sharing their DMs and subsequently, in her mind, having trolls come to leave negative comments on her videos, which, again, honestly, I think it's kind of rude not to give somebody a heads up that you are literally sharing DMs as they are happening. But again, it's not illegal and it's not against terms of service. So she threatened to sue this person and went on kind of a rage campaign against Augie RFC and other creators who talk about her and give her valid criticism. And finally, she agreed to do an interview, promoted it, and then backtracked and spread false information again about another creator who, as he claims, his intention was to let her share her side of the story and clear her name. Essentially, she decided to say screw you and accused a creator who has a smaller channel than she does of a crime that she knew he didn't commit. So I know that that was a lot of info, but I felt that it was important to go over a variety of different interactions that Katie has had and things she's been called out for. She is currently in the middle of another controversy over the I Stand With Sophie situation that is happening right now, and I knew we weren't going to have a chance to talk about it because I had so many notes for the other situations. But if you are curious to what that is all about, what Sophie's story is, and also what Katie is being called out for in relation to the I Stand With Sophie story, let me know if you want to do a live stream talking about it or if you would like another pre-recorded video. If you watched this and you said, Nabi, I'm good, like, that's all I want to hear about Katie Joy, also let me know down below because your opinion matters too. And also let me know what thoughts you have about her. Have you had any personal interactions with Katie? What do you think about her reporting tactics and the way that she uploads and the way that she treats subscribers and other creators on the platform? Because I would love to hear your opinion. And while you're doing that, if you would consider liking this video or subscribing to my channel, that would be incredible. If you're subscribed already, thank you so much. I am so appreciative of you. And with all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and let you go. Thank you so much for watching. Please be kind to people, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.